Last year, this country astounded the world by taking a decision that we had delayed for perhaps too long. In the biggest popular mandate ever delivered in our history, the British people voted to leave the European Union. And we voted to take back control of our cash and our borders and, above all, of our law-making system. To put the British people back in the driving seat of their country. To give us the freedom once again to negotiate our own trade deals, to take back control of our economic destiny, and to build on the extraordinary traditions of this country as a global Britain, a trading nation that looks not just to our friends in Europe, but around the world. It is a moment of hope and opportunity, and I can assure you that there are plenty of people in Brussels, and indeed some in this country, who have spent night and day since June the 23rd dreaming, hoping, scheming, and plotting that they will be able to reverse that decision. And I ask you, do we want them to frustrate the will of the people? Do we want them to overturn our democratic decision of last year? Do we want them to frustrate Brexit? I don't think we do. Look, in the last year, I've seen Leavers and Remainers across this country coming together, overwhelmingly resolved to get it done and to get the best deal in the interests of Britain and the rest of Europe. And I'm afraid in Brussels, they don't yet see it that way. There are plenty of people who secretly think they can turn this thing around because they've done it before. Look at what happened in France, in Denmark, in Ireland. I've studied the history of the EU intimately over the last 30 years or so, and I can tell you that whenever a population is so temerarious as to revolt against the EU system, whenever a people has risen up and said no to some EU treaty that takes them further into the architecture of a federal superstate, they find that the EU establishment, that great glutinous conglomerate of privileged interests, somehow miraculously persuades them to have another go, have another referendum, and this time come up with the answer that the EU wants. And I'm afraid to say it has worked every time in all those other countries. And this time, in the UK, they have, I'm afraid, another advantage. And that is the Labour Party under Jeremy Corbyn, the only other possible Prime Minister on Friday. And I don't know what Mr. Corbyn personally thinks about the EU. Indeed, I'm not even sure which way he voted. But I do know that he is in no position to lead the negotiations on behalf of this country.